So, have you been subconsciously wishing for a phase in your life where you don't have any problems? Well, I actually have them too. And recently, I had an epiphany that it's had me radically changing my relationship with my problems and helping me feel more at ease and feeling like I have more agency in my life as a result. So, yes, this episode is all about radically rethinking problems. But before we get to, so welcome to Joyful Eating, episode 204, where we're talking about radically rethinking problems. So the best bite that I had recently was actually on Sunday night. So normally we have dessert. I actually had some ricotta in the fridge, and one of my students in Joyful Cooking had posted in the group that she was in Spain on holiday and she was sharing something that she'd made in Spain. But then she said when she was at the bakery getting bread for what she was making, they also had this Biscoff cheesecake, so she's, like, totally got a piece of that as well, and I was like, "Ooh, Biscoff cheesecake, wow." And so it's like, "Okay, cool, I can make that myself," and so I made, like, my 10-minute cheesecake version, which is basically you get, like, smooth ricotta and, sometimes I just use the smooth ricotta. This time I had some double cream, so I mixed that together and then swirled in some Biscoff spread, and if you haven't had it, Biscoff's like this, I think they're Danish cookies that have like spice, they're sweet, and they actually make a spread that's kind of like peanut butter texture, but has this beautiful, sweet, biscuity, yeah, spiced flavor. So I stirred the Biscoff spread through, and then I was going to use some walnuts, but I had some granola, like a commercial granola, the honey and spice granola left over from when we'd had guests, and so I was like sprinkled that on top, and so it had that was kind of like the cheesecake base, and then like the ricotta was like, and with the Biscoff was like, which is so good. So yes, definitely more Biscoff cheesecake in my future. Okay, so and yeah, like a little bit of a bonus cheesecake my instant cheesecake lesson here. Okay, so enough about cheesecake. Let's talk about problems. So our plan today is first, of course, I'll share the story behind like my radical epiphany around problems, and which is kind of like duh. But then but I figure if I like have been thinking approaching problems in a non-helpful way, that this could be helpful for you as well. So we're going to talk about the story of how this came about, and then I'm going to talk about that, like the how to develop a taste for problems, and then I've got a bonus tip to share with you as well. And so, so the story behind this is like this year, 2024. Been a bit of a tough year for me. Like hormone stuff on the health front has been a bit challenging. Sleep's been a bit challenging. I've had a family member with some health things going on and in and out of hospital, and just life stuff, right? Anyway, so I've been reading and I'm really loving a book called Meditations for Mortals by Oliver Berkman. And he wrote another book that I'd read called 4,000 Weeks, and it was about time management for mortals. And I really liked his approach to time management. Anyway, so his new book, it's like meditations in the like just things to think about meditations, not like sitting down to become a Zen master. And so the book's like divided, it's like 4 weeks, and there's just a daily chapter of a different thing to think, like different meditation, something to think about each day. Anyway, so the other day I was reading this, like I got a little habit of doing it in the afternoon, and reading, like listening, actually, I listened to the audiobook version. So listening to the daily entry, and it's day 14, and it was called Develop a Taste for Problems. And it started with the Haitian proverb that beyond mountains, there will be more mountains, or beyond mountains, more mountains. And so Berkman just went into this idea that actually, like, we go through our lives, like, trying to solve problems, trying to solve all our problems, trying to solve our problems, kind of subconsciously thinking that, yes, because the aim of life is to get to this, like, promised land of problem-free living, right? So there's going where there's no problems and we're on easy street. But of course, like rationally, I know that like that doesn't exist, that there will always be problems, and that's part of this is good. But I hadn't really brought any conscious awareness to how I was operating. And so when I listened to this idea, I was just like, it blew me away for like, of course, like, of course there are going to be problems. And I just got so excited about, oh, actually, I can completely change my relationship with my problems and have a very different experience of them. And it just like I felt like a weight had lifted off my shoulders, and I felt like my the sun was coming out, and I was like 2024 isn't necessarily going to be the worst year of my second worst year of my life anymore. It's like, yeah, okay, I can reframe how I think about these. And it's like it felt very empowering and yeah, like just so exciting. So I was like, I really wanted to do a podcast episode on this, even though it's like a pretty new concept to me, because I want to spread this word and just this reminder that actually there isn't going to be a time where we have no problems. Yeah, there are times where we have more problems and that or they can seem more impressive, but there's always problems, right? That's just part of um part of being human and part of being alive and part of life is that there are always problems. And just when we can embrace that and actually first of all accept it, but then actually take it the next step of going, actually this is a good thing. It's a good thing that we have problems to solve, because if really we were in this trouble-free, problem-free life, we'd get bored really easily. We'd get bored really quickly, and we'd be missing out, because one of the most satisfying things in life is when you have a problem and you solve it. Like, I just thinking it for me, like in terms of like my health, like that, like changing my relationship with food and going from feeling out of control, feeling like I was like, had no agency over my weight and my body, and like always on this treadmill of struggling between like loving food on one hand and then but like overeating and not enjoying on the other hand, like to go from that problem state to where I am now, where it's like where I eat in a way that feels really good to me, where I feel good in my body. Like I don't like, are there things I would change if I could? Yes. Are there some wrinkles I would get rid of? Yes. But generally, I feel like I love being in my body. I love how my clothes feel. I'm not afraid of gaining weight in the future. Like there's no like thing looming over me of like, oh, I'm like going through menopause and like my weight is really stable. Like it feels like so great to have solved that problem and to be in this place where I have this great relationship with food, where I get to enjoy the food I love and I'm eating in a balanced way. So my body is happy as well. And so to like just if I had have always been like this, if I hadn't have gone through the problem years, if I had have just listened to like followed what my mum did all those years ago and stuck with that, and not had this troubled relationship with food, like that would have been great. But I also would have missed out on the contrast between how that was a struggle and now it's not, and how like the difference of that, and feel how good that feels to have been through the struggle and solved it. Like I actually, if I could choose, I think I would still go through the struggle because this feels really good. And just thinking about like my relationship with alcohol as well, again, like, yeah, like that was a problem. And now having like got to a completely different place where I just, I'm only drinking like hardly anything, like a couple of glasses a week, like, and that it's not this big issue in my life anymore. It's not a problem. But I haven't had to like cut it out and go completely sober. Like that feels really good. Like, and so having solved that problem feels really good. And so I want you to think about like problems that you've solved in your life, and how actually it was great that you got to solve that problem, and how that sense of accomplishment, that sense of growth, that sense of achievement, how good that feels. And that actually this problem solving is like actually like it's actually fun. As Oliver Berkman says in the book, he's like, yeah, but think about like, yes, there'll be mountains beyond mountains, but mountaineering is so exhilarating. And it's like, yeah, okay, there will be more mountains, there will be more problems, but actually problem solving is fun. Like problem solving is in itself enjoyable. And the cool thing is that when we accept that like this is the state of play, that there will always be problems, then I think like it also takes the pressure off the like the anxiety that goes with our problems, because it's like, oh yeah, okay, so I've got these are my current problems and I can think of through what they are at the moment, and it's like, okay, but this is what I'm working through, and that's okay because like I know what these problems are, so this is great. It's actually not a big deal. Like um well, it is a big deal. Not that it's not a big deal, but it's like it's a known quantity. So like I know what my problems are, and I don't have to wish them away. I can actually just appreciate that, oh, this is my current problems that I'm working through. There's going to be more in the future. This will change. It's not going to be like this forever. And that's a good thing. Like, and actually feeling really it's just, yeah, it's such a great place to be. So how do we go about doing this? Really, it's just deciding that like, yeah, it's okay. I actually want to have problems in my life. It's okay. These are my problems. And then just keeping reminding ourselves of that. I think that's the thing is like we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught, as Alex Hormozy says. So, just reminding ourselves that, okay, these are my problems at the moment. It's not going to always be like that. There'll be new problems. There'll be other problems. Some problems will go away for a while and come back. And that's okay. It's like this is part of being alive. And it's actually a good thing. So that's how we do it. It's like just making that decision and then reminding yourself of the decision. And in terms of like my bonus tip for you is just actually, and what I have done to remind myself of this is actually like setting a reminder in my calendar of like for 6 months time is like reread that chapter, Jules, so that I don't forget, because human brains, they do tend to forget things. So I actually am actively going to remind myself of this. But maybe I should set a reminder to listen to this podcast episode as well. So yeah, that's my radical take on problems. I hope that this speaks to you and that you can adopt this as well in your life and just experiment with it too. And on something kind of unreal, no, not so, it's quite slightly related, but if you feel like cooking at the moment is a problem for you, particularly coming into the holidays, and that thought of having people entertaining is like causing you stress, then definitely, if that's a problem, definitely check out last week's episode, where I shared one tiny technique to help bring ease and joy into the kitchen. So it's going to help solve that stressful cooking over the holidays problem. And also, the other thing I mentioned last week is that in December, I do what's called this, I call the Stonesoup 8 Days of Christmas, where I give away one like cooking related gift, value packed gift for free every day for 8 days. And the reason for eight is because eight's my lucky number. So if you want to get some excellent, valuable cooking related tools, trainings, resources, ebooks, all fun things to help you celebrate the holidays with ease and joy, and also to help you bring ease and joy into the kitchen in the new year as well. Like it's not just holiday themed things. So there's no strings attached. It's completely free. The only thing is that to get the free gifts, you need to be on my email list. So my Stonesoup email list. So just either check out the link in the show notes or Google Stonesoup and check out the free recipe app page, and there'll be a place to enter your details. You can do that there. And then I'll send you a copy of my free recipe app as a little bonus taster. And then during December, you'll get the free gifts as well. So that's it for this week. And yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Okay, bye.